we've seen that. We've seen Taylor Swift re-releasing vinyls from albums that came out almost 10 years ago, and that continuing to push. And you think this is going
Both
to...
doing different versions as well. Both with different versions, different colors, different covers. Versioning is kicking in on vinyl now.
So where does this continue to go? What do you see for the future of vinyl?
I name-checked the company Pressing Business, which was working on Travis Scott, and I got a fairly unique insight into how that project went down. And again, I don't want to pick winners here. There are many other usual suspects in the vinyl production space, but I can talk coherently and qualified to talk about what Pressing Business are doing. Bill Heim, H-E-I-M, legend of the business, has been in this business since the 70s, set up ADA, knows the ropes. And he was looking at the vinyl production business. It's not easy to produce vinyl. It's not like you set up a factory and this stuff pours out the conveyor belt. It's a lot of expertise. So he set up a huge pressing plant in Poland with the expertise to take on that additional capacity and get the queue time for doing vinyl down. So for your audience who are planning vinyl releases to go out, perhaps queue time's 30, 40 days, it should be below 20, realistically. You're ready to go, go. We're going to put the album out next month and we want vinyl to go with it. We need to have that type of time frame to our conversation. But they've also solved one-stop shop distribution as well. So they can hit 7 regions on the planet with one phone call. Now, again, there'll be other players doing this too. I don't want to disrespect anyone else in the vinyl production space, but that level of fluidity, if you're a US label, Travis Scott, you want to do vinyl out of Poland and you can hit Britain without Brexit issues. You can hit America without customs issues. You can hit Latin America without taxation issues. I mean, we can talk about capacity. You've done that on many previous podcasts. I'm talking about bureaucracy. What I'm seeing now as the vinyl production space is it's leapfrogging the bureaucracy that previously held this format back as well. So I think I put some terrible pun about vinyl ain't going to stop spinning anytime soon. I apologize. It was my bad day. But it really is. Like, the more you break down the production capacity barriers, the more you break down the bureaucracy barriers. Like getting vinyl from Europe into Britain post-Brexit, that stuff is hard. No American label or manager wants to deal with that. We're getting around that now. So I really do mean there's going to be a supply-side expansion in what we can do in vinyl. And we got to start thinking about it more. You got 1 million fans streaming your song for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, a new album. You get 18,000 to buy the record. You're netting off the same. Easily.
I am wondering what you're thinking though on the like what's driving the demand side for this as well, because one of the thoughts that I had reading this, and I know others share it, is are people buying vinyl these days because they're playing it, or are they buying it kind of as a merchandise item, like something to put up in their home?
Well, we know, at least in the UK, and it's been consistent, anecdotal survey, 60-ish% of the vinyl buyers don't own a record player. And of those who do, and this is where it gets really important, so that 40%, how many have bothered to open the record? Maybe half. So that takes us to the point where 80% of what's being sold isn't being consumed, which, by the way, is how the book industry works. The book industry works off a rule of thumb that 80% of books that are sold are not consumed by the reader. They're a gift. They sit on a glass table. They get dusty on this shelf here. I look at the shelf of books in my office. I ain't read 80% of them. I bought that book so I could pretend to be as clever as my brother and sisters. I'm going to read it. It's too hard. So there is a long history of selling content that's not there for its consumption. It's fallen into that bucket. But I do also look at sort of the merchandise angle. I think there's something in that too, which is if you're willing to spend £65 on a weekend tour t-shirt at the London Stadium, £65, that's half a year of Allwell's music on a streaming service, £65. Then how much are you willing to give for a vinyl record? 50 could be the new sweet spot. It seems to be going that way. Travis has done 311,000 times $50, and it only costs $6 to make.
Yeah. And I also wonder if this says anything about like Gen Z wanting to have some experience of owning music that they had never had. Because I don't think that, like, say that you sold the vinyl, a version of this that wasn't actually a vinyl record, like maybe it's some sort of poster or like something that would be more along the merchandise lines and didn't actually contain the music itself. I don't think it would sell in the same way. Like, I think there is maybe something there about like Gen Z grew up in an age where there was no concept of ownership of music. And maybe this is something that people crave.
I think you're onto something, T-Bug, and here's a way of adding it together. Maybe it's Gen Z wanting to own something that we use the acronym BOMAD, Bank of Mum and Dad. Maybe it's Gen Z wanting to own something that BOMAD approves of. So I want to buy a t-shirt. That's a rip-off. You can't pay that for a t-shirt. Can I get the vinyl record? Oh, I love the idea of vinyl records in our house. Go on, take my credit card, go to the races and buy it. Maybe it's something like that too. But also, I mean, I remember when we first did the podcast, Dan, and we talked about intimacy a lot. Maybe holding that thing is just a way of getting intimacy that pressing a glass screen for, 285 milliseconds does not. And people are craving for that too. Harry Styles, I think a third of his income on the first month of release was orange gatefold vinyl records. I don't think any of them have been opened.
I have vinyl records sitting over there that I have not played, that I just have, but it's special to me to have them.
Yeah.
So, and I do have a record player for the record.
Does it have a needle and does it spin at 33 1/3? Is it a functional record player?
It is functional, and it does not look like a suitcase.
Tell you a funny story.
It's not one of those Urban Outfitters. No, it is a real record player.
I got two Technic 1210s that I blagged off Edinburgh University because I persuaded the university in the late 90s, revealing my age here. They were refurbishing the University Union, and I said, "You giving this union a paint job?" Aye, we're going to paint the union. I said, well, you're going to have to replace your equipment. What do you mean? Well, you have to replace your Technics every year. Everyone knows that. Really? All right, well, what do you do them? I'll take them off you. So I got these 1210s for free. They're still the same 1210s. Then I got them repaired. I didn't know that you could open 1210 turntables. You can open them up. And the repair shop opened them up and he found drugs, condoms, old £20 banknotes. And that's obviously where DJs stash their kit, right? Inside the turntables. So it's not just record players they're useful for. They're also useful for smuggling drugs. I shouldn't say that on a podcast.
Wow. I've learned so much on Trapital.
I don't know if those drugs would have worked. They must have been like 30 years old drugs by now, but we found them.
Amazing. See, well, this is what you bring to the podcast. Who else could have spoken about the constraints of vinyl and then have it lead to smuggling drugs through record players?
You're a DJ, you're on the road, you got to keep busy. Makes sense. Hide it in your 1210s. Don't put it in your socks. They always look there.
Thanks for watching Trapital on YouTube. If you enjoyed this clip, please make sure to check out the full episode that's available on our channel. And while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get all the updates on all the clips, videos, and breakdowns that we have on Trapital.